Hi, and welcome to Keep Hope Alive podcast. Boy, do we have a special show for you today. I got Stephen Pivnik here today. Welcome to Keep Hope Alive. We're so excited to have you. He
Thank,
is an
thank you for having me.
author. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. He's an author, speaker, advisor, and he's going to be talking about built to finish mindset, which is going to be fun. We're going to take a deep dive into that. And remember, if you guys have any questions for him about this podcast show, you can always reach him at 833. Well, you're going to go through me to get to him, honestly. 833-780-HOPE, which is 4673. So if you have questions, send it to us and we'll get those answered for you. So before we start, Stephen, I got one quick question for you. Out of the
Sure.
past 15 years, how many weddings have you been to?
Oh, wow. At least one a year, sometimes two. So I'll just go with 30.
30. Okay, perfect. So let me throw this at you. So you're going to a wedding, it's at a church, you're walking into the church, but there's something to sign to let the bride and groom know that you were there. What are they signing?
What a sign-in sheet, a register?
Yes, a
Uh,
register. Perfect.
okay.
So
Yay, I got
one
it
of
right.
Yeah, I had one person, I love it. I forgot which show it was, but they said their life away. And I was like, well, that's a cool answer. But yeah, it was guest book or register, I hear it, or even a sign in sheet. Now, lifeonrecord.com is one of our sponsors here, and they do it a little bit different. Instead of the guest book or register, they have a vintage phone that you can come pick up the phone and leave a message. Congratulations,
Oh,
you
wow.
guys. We're so happy for you. Or they could be like a groomsman or bridesmaid. They're going, well, it's about time you finally got married. I'm so glad he got you a beautiful ring. You look gorgeous today. I can't wait to celebrate. So I call it the collection of voices, which is really cool. So, but right next to the phone, if there's a long line waiting for the message to be get done, they do have a QR code. So you can do the message also on your cell phone before or after. But you know what? Picking up that vintage phone is so fun. Now, this can go for any event, birthdays, reunions. Um, I used it for my son's football team. A kid got hurt, so they were calling in to say, I hope you feel
Aw.
better. So yeah, so after these messages are actually done and you have this phone number for a year, but they'll give it to you sooner. But if you add it more, they'll add it to it. They put all these messages on either a 12-inch record or they have a keepsake speaker that you can have. And it's just amazing. So their plans start at
What a great idea.
$99. Yeah, phone number words phone number for a year. You got to return the cute vintage phone. But it's amazing because even if it was a wedding, right before the 1 year anniversary, you can call that number again and go, oh my gosh, 1 year, congrats. I'm so happy for you. And you get those. So, but to find out more information about them, you can go to www.lifeonrecord.com. All right. So, who is Stephen Pivnik?
Wow. I have 45 minutes. It's a long story. I guess I'll summarize it with I'm a successful entrepreneur, a huge family man, and I'm an endurance sports addict. So let's just leave
I
it
like how
at
you say that.
those three things.
That's cool. Really quick about the sports. Which sports do you follow?
So endurance sports is really my thing. So I do a
Oh,
lot of long distance triathlons. I do a lot of Ironman races, mountaineering, ultra marathons, things like that. So I'm an endurance an
oh
adrenaline
wow.
junkie.
Adrenaline junkie. See, training for those marathons, I give you a lot of credit. Getting out there and running, and it takes a lot of practice, doesn't it?
It does. It's a huge time commitment, but it's so rewarding because it keeps me in great shape. Keeps me eating healthy. Just keeps me moving, and I'm hoping it adds years to my life.
It will. So, and it helps you with thinking about your work. Also, I bet getting that clear idea and new thoughts how to run a company and everything.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, one of the many reasons I wrote the book, which I'll get into in a minute, is there's so many similarities between entrepreneurship and endurance sports. All the planning, preparation, execution, perseverance, setbacks, stamina, willpower, all that. Those are ingredients that are required in business and in endurance sports. So once you get good at one, you can kind of transfer that mindset to the other pretty readily.
Yeah, I bet, definitely. So, yeah, I want to hear more about I want to start you do a lot of things, but the business part of it. Tell us the story behind that, how it got created and everything
Sure.
and what
So
you've done.
I grew up pretty much a computer nerd. This is, way before the, PCs and computers were popular. There was one of the very first, consumer computers was called the Commodore 64. So I'm kind of dating myself. I don't know how many people in your audience will know what a Commodore 64 is, but it was a computer that you can bring home and play games on and also program. So I taught myself how to program and I started writing my own video games. Fast forward to when it was time to go to college, I applied to a technical school and I got accepted, but my parents couldn't afford to send me there. So my my college dreams were busted even before they began. So I went to a state school for literally 3 days. And then my mother found out about this professional computer programming course being offered that also offered job placement after you're done with the training. So I went that route and got a job after 6 months programming professionally for a large publishing company. And that's kind of, where my computer career took off. And after, several different jobs working for larger companies, I got bitten by the entrepreneurial bug that my father and grandfather instilled in me and branched off on my own and started my own company.
Nice. I love how all that plays out too. So, I mean, I look back at my family and my dad is probably the closest to me. So, marketing aspect and sales, he did,
Right.
but it was like for food companies, and I'm more like home improvements. But even back when I was younger, it was like probably playing Barbies or something. I was like, I want to be a certified wedding planner. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that with the rest of my life, and that's what I did. I went to some
Awesome.
college for hotel restaurant management, and then I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna be a certified wedding planner." Got my certificate, started my own company, and then it was like, I guess 2 or 3 years after. Truth be told, I grew up with epilepsy, but I had a really bad seizure, and when I came out of it, I bought camera, a really nice Nikon camera, and I taught myself, and I've been doing photography for over 20 years now and having a lot of fun with it. So it's like a whole new career side of me in the event industry was
Sure.
formed and creating companies and stuff. So,
Very
but
cool.
that's always fun because when that spark is there, and especially with you doing that, and I don't. You said I was a computer nerd. No, 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 no. So I saw with IBM that was. Of course, on your website too. So, and Microsoft and Google and everything. So, but like in those industries and doing what you did, that's just amazing to hold on to that in your school travels to get to the right place. That's what I had to do with wedding. I couldn't do the hotel restaurant. That wasn't in my heart. The weddings was in my heart. So I had to
Right.
branch out. But it sounds like that's you had job placement and that was a good route for you. So I guess what I'm going to ask when starting up your company, how long of a process was that? And did you set goals and where you wanted to get to and meeting the goals and everything?
Yeah, I mean, it was really interesting. The quick answer is no. I just knew that I wanted to work for myself. I didn't want to work for somebody else anymore. I felt that I would have much better control over my future and over the projects that I would be working on if I had my own company. So I signed up a couple of partners, And at the time, this again, so this is even before, this is just around the time, this is like in 1993, right? When the PC had just come around, computers are becoming more and more popular. And we were basically doing custom application development work. Like in today's day and age, if a company wants a program, you could basically download it, right? There's an app store for consumers. There's an app store for large companies. There's a million and one solutions out there. You just subscribe to whatever you need and you get it. Well, back in the day, if a company wanted to automate a business process, they needed to write that program from scratch. And that's what we did. So we did custom application development and we had a great time doing it. So we did that for large companies, primarily in the Manhattan area when we first started. And then to give you the short version, a bank, a large bank, JP Morgan, hired us to write them an email conversion program. They were going from one email system to another, and they needed all this data to be converted so that employees, when they walk in the morning, they have their same inbox, same calendar, same contacts. So we wrote them this little program, which we thought was boring at the time because we were doing much cooler work. But at the end of the day, it was so niche that we found out that there was an incredible amount of demand from other companies that were converting email systems for whatever reason. And an entire suite of products was born out of that one little custom project. And we became known worldwide as the email conversion company.
Yay, that is amazing. So, did you have to hire more people with the workload?
Oh yeah, we were hiring a ton. So the company's lifespan, it took many different turns, and there was a whole bunch of pivots and changes and downturns in the economy and then upturns. So it was sometimes it was feast or famine. By the time I sold the company, which was 3 years, almost 4 years ago now, we got up to just over 200 employees across 12 countries. So yeah, there was a lot of employees hired.
Well, that's good though. That's amazing. So just watching it grow had to be so rewarding and everything. I mean, I get that with when I started the photography, I was getting hired a lot and watching that grow was amazing. And now with this podcast, I'm watching it grow like big time.
Right.
And I'm like, this is amazing. I've always wanted to do this. It feels right. And I love talking to people and hearing about their different stories and journeys in life and everything. So that's really good. So with the business, and you said you sold it, um, I had I guess the next one would be you're a best-selling author. So is that when
Yes.
about the time you wrote your book?
Right. So there was two things that were kind of coming to a head, like two long-term goals of mine were coming to a head together. I
Mhm.
always wanted to sell it. Well, not always. In the later stages of the company's life, I finally set out a goal to sell it because I wanted to realize the value that I have created over the years. And that's, most entrepreneurs' dreams is to have an exit and to sell their company. At the same time, I was pursuing my endurance sports hobby, and I was trying to get into the Ironman World Championship in Kona, Hawaii. So this is like the best of the best triathletes in the world that race for the championship in Kona, Hawaii. So the things happened literally 13 months apart. So I sold the company. I completed my final qualification races and I got into the world championship and I competed there. So after I did these two things, I really wanted to do a couple of things. I wanted to memorialize my journey in a book. And I wanted to do so that I can inspire others to really dream big and set big goals and to have this, built to finish mindset. And also, I really wanted to create some credibility to get on the stage. I love sharing my story, and not that it's mandatory to have a book to get a speaking engagement, but it definitely helps. So now all of a sudden you're an authority in the specific topic. So I wrote the book for those reasons, and I was blown away on with the reception of it and the fact that it became a number one Amazon bestseller on, after it launched.
That is amazing. How long did it take to write the book? Was it a year, less than a year?
It took just less than a year to write the book, and then to go
That's
through
good.
like find the publishing company, go through multiple rounds of edits and changes, and then cover. There's so many. I learned more than I ever wanted to know about the book business. There's so many. When you pick up a book, like every single section of it is a project. The cover design, the back design, the inner flap design, what goes on the acknowledgement pages, what goes on the prologue, the afterword. There's so many components.
Wow.
It's it could be done a lot quicker. There's a lot of people that promote that you can write a book in 60 days. I would be cautious about that. It's a long but rewarding project.
See, I've always wanted to write a book. I have a story, but I don't think I could do it. I hate to say that about me. I want a ghostwriter, or I just want to talk it out and have somebody just write out,
Oh,
So,
there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, and I'm not ashamed to say, and I give him a lot of credit. Justin Spisman was my ghostwriter, and
yeah.
I interviewed probably 2 dozen people before I settled on one that I felt
Hmm.
comfortable with. We met together for 3 days. We came up with a chapter outline, and then I went back to New York. He went back to Atlanta, and he interviewed me for every chapter. He went away for a week. He wrote the chapter. He would send it to me, and then I would rewrite it to make it sound like me.
That's
And
awesome.
by the third or fourth chapter, he started seeing all of my edits and how I speak and how I would relate, convey ideas. And so he
That's
started
cool.
writing more like me, and my edits started decreasing as the book
That's
went on.
cool.
Yeah,
That's cool. That gives me hope that
it
somebody
is.
else can help you with that.
Oh,
That's something
100%.
I'm going to
There's
look into.
nothing wrong with getting a ghostwriter.
Yeah, definitely. So, and then you said you were a speaker. So, a keynote speaker?
Right. So I just love, sharing my story on stage and inspiring others. So there's
Yeah.
definitely a lot of things that I did right in my career, both in the business world and in the endurance sports world. And like I mentioned earlier, there's just so many similarities. Some of these stories are hysterical, some of them are sad. I just love sharing them so that to give people hope that you don't have to be perfect in order to achieve big goals. There's going to be a whole bunch of bumps in the road. Learn from them, dust yourself off, move on, and just keep your eye on the prize and that proverbial finish line.
Yeah, definitely. So, like, for anybody watching right now and they're having trouble, like getting off on, doing a new business, or they don't know which steps to take first, is that something that you ever coach on or talk about when you're doing speaking?
I definitely have a lot of ideas and opinions on that. My coaching forte is really for more established companies, companies that have been around for about 10 years or so that
Hmm.
are kind of stuck, right? I coach founders that have been doing this for a while and they really need help on defining, what that finish line looks like for them and the
Hmm.
path to get to that finish line. It's not 100% clear if you haven't done it before. Once you've done it once or twice, I mean, you kind of know what the steps are. But if you haven't done it, it's really, really daunting, right? Say, oh my God, I've got this company now. How the hell am I going to sell it? Like, what do I need to do to really maximize the value that I'm going to get to have the best package for my employees, for my other partners, for other shareholders? There's just so much that goes into that. So that's really my forte versus the hey, how do I get this thing off the ground? Which I can opine on, but I prefer to stay in my lane of the more established companies.
Yeah, I totally hear you. So, okay, just off topic really quick.
Sure.
Our next sponsor that we have is Snap Bands, and they're usually all over Facebook. I don't know if you ever seen, I have so many bracelets on right now, but this is a Snap Bands. Mine says Hope. And on the back of it, let's see, there is an elastic band that if you pull it, it gives a little sensation that goes through. And with these bracelets, they have mantra words like hope, faith, love, peace. And you just, take it, snap, go, okay, today I'm going to have a great day. I want peace in my life. I'm so happy for this and that. And it helps refocus. with cognitive study, it does work. I've had mine on for 6 months, but it's so funny for me when I use my snap bands, it's usually at the hospital because nobody can find a vein. So I'm always praying and hoping that they find a vein on me. So, but this helps with anxiety, depression, and I'm going to throw PTSD in there. So I people know my story. I probably got medical PTSD that it just drives me nuts. It's hard for me to go to the hospital these days. I feel like I'm freaking lived there due to chronic pain, but
Oh, no.
with this, it does help. For when I ever have those feelings of being stressed out or whatever. So, with snapbands.com, they come in all different colors too, which is amazing. Now, they do have a new mantra word, as I mentioned, and it's faith. If you were to go on there and you want the word faith, their promo code is KHA, keep hope alive. So you can find it. Um, Definitely, they come in all different colors and they're waterproof, vegan leather. They're amazing. Go visit them. Visit them is a new word. Hashtag that at www.snapbands.com. And they spell it SNAPPBANDZ.com. All right. So back to that. Now, I know with all your business goals that have got accomplished, and I want to know still, like you said, you're in Hawaii. You did that race. What was the outcome of the race? You never finished that one. I got to hear.
Well, again, the outcome was I finished. So in an Ironman race, you get 17 hours. So the distance of an Ironman is a 2.4 mile swim, a 112-mile bike, and then a full marathon, 26.2 mile run.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Okay,
that's
I was just thinking it was running all of a sudden, and I'm like, oh, okay, just running. But there, you said swim.
it's a triathlon. So yeah, swim, bike, run, and it's the longest distance triathlon. 2.4 mile swim, 112-mile bike, 26-mile run, and you have a 17-hour window to complete it to get an official finish. So the professionals do this for a living, and obviously they want to win in order to collect prize money. I'm far from a professional. I do this just, again, for the healthy lifestyle and just to claim a finisher medal. Doesn't matter if you finish in 8 hours like the professionals do, or if you finish in 16 hours and 58 minutes, you still get the
Oh,
same medal. So I finished that one in probably 14 hours, 14 and a half hours. And I was the happiest man
I
in the
would say
world.
that's good. I would probably like be 25, 30. Feel like, oh, I'm just gonna take my time swimming. So, but that's
No,
good.
they're cutoff times. So, for instance, with the swim, you have 2.5 hours to finish a swim. If you don't finish a swim in 2.5 hours, you can't continue on to the bike.
Wait a minute. I must be really dumb right now. A pool or ocean or
Oh,
what? A
ocean.
lake?
No, ocean. It's almost always
Oh,
open ocean, lake, river, ocean. In this case, it was the ocean.
wait a minute. So are you going in or sideways?
So every single course is different. This one was kind of a rectangular course. So you go out, come over, and come back. And the
Oh my
currents
gosh.
change and the wind
Yes.
changes and
Yes.
there's 2,000 people in the water, so you're getting kicked and punched and shoved, that not intentionally, it's just people just jockeying for position.
Wait a
It's
minute. So are you like swimming into jellyfish and sharks or?
I have experienced jellyfish in a race in Maryland. Unfortunately, the second my face hit the water, I got bitten 3 times. So I had to swim
Oh,
2.5 miles with like three burning sensations around my face. So that has
mm,
happened. Have never encountered a shark. Have encountered some floating wood in a river. That happens occasionally. Yeah, it's if anybody if this is new to anybody, just go to YouTube and type in Ironman triathlon, and you'll
yeah.
see dozens of incredibly inspirational videos on what this competition is like.
Okay, yeah. So when I post this video, guys, we'll have the Iron Man. So
Not to
Wow.
be
I
confused,
mean,
not to be confused with a superhero, which is Iron Man, 2 words. This Iron Man is 1 word. Iron Man, 1 word.
okay. One word. Okay. Well, we'll have to get that. I mean, I've seen the movie Open Water like I feel like 10 times. I am never gonna go in water any farther than where the rocks end. So, I mean, I'm in Texas. Galveston is dirty water, so I can't see what's in the water, which makes me happy. But when I visit Florida, I saw jellyfish right up front, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not going in. There's no way I'm going in. That thing was huge, and I don't want to see it. So,
Yeah, I did a race in Florida earlier this year, and my daughter was petrified because it was in a lake in Florida. She's like, Dad, there's alligators in every single lake in Florida. I'm like, don't worry, I'll be fine. And I was fine, but I
yeah,
think it's a fact. There's gators in almost every body of water in Florida. But I did learn that they really, unless you're bothering them, they're not going to come out and attack you. So don't
my
bother
gosh.
gators and you'll be fine.
Do you know how to wrestle one in case it did happen?
No, I just need to
No.
swim faster than the guy behind me.
Yeah, definitely. That is your main focus. Yeah. So, with your book, we can find that on Amazon, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, with this podcast and everything on my website, I have a store section, guys. So I'm going to be adding his book there. So if you would like to buy it, that would be great. And what is the name of it again?
It's called Built to Finish: How to Go the
Okay.
Distance in Business and in Life. So it talks about, like I said, my business journey, talks about my endurance sports journey, talks about a lot of mountaineering trips that I've taken. I'm on a mission to summit the tallest peaks in the world. So I have a Mount Everest expedition scheduled for May of next year. So
Oh, wow.
that'll be the topic of the next book once I summon Mount Everest.
I'm just lucky if I can get to Oklahoma from Texas right now. But I have my bucket list. I'm like, I want to go to Colorado. I've never been there. And then I want to go see the Grand Canyon too. So, as a photographer, I was just like, I want to get pictures, sunrise, sunset, or even in the
Oh,
dark with beautiful stars and everything. So, I've
you
been
have to go
doing
to the
my
Grand Canyon.
research.
It's gorgeous.
Oh, I bet. I know. These are things that just before you get one life to live, go visit the nature, the beauty of it, and everything. And I love
Yep.
capturing the moment. So, but definitely. What else? I know I had other questions for you. As far as socials and contacting you, what is the best way to do that?
So my website has all of my social information. My website is stephenpivnik.com. I
Okay.
post a lot of stuff on Instagram. So Stephen.Pivnik is my Instagram. And from a business perspective, I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me. But again, my website has a link to all of those socials. So stephenpivnik.com. And then all my socials are referenced there. And I also
Okay.
keep
And
a
if,
blog of all these crazy adventures. So if anybody wants to sign up for the blog,
oh,
I just finished this crazy bike ride from Manhattan to Niagara Falls, 550 miles last week.
oh,
So I'll be blogging about that soon and some other races that I've done. So I just love to share this craziness in the hopes to inspire others to get out of their comfort zone.
you see, I have a friend that does biking and everything, and it's just I love that he's on my Facebook because I can watch and see where he's visited. It's like I'm trying to live through his pictures right now, which is amazing because I know I'm not going to be able to get there and I don't ride a bike and it's just like, oh, but
But you
it's
can.
gorgeous. He's so like adventurous. So it's like living my other half of the world through him. So, but definitely, if somebody wanted to hire you to be a keynote speaker, they can do that. Also, contact through the website.
The website has my email address. It's Stephen at stephenpivnik.com. There's a form there. I'm happy to talk to any event organizer to see, what their event is all about and if I'm a
Mhm.
possible fit.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I feel like I'm questioned out right now. Is there anything I'm missing about you?
No, I mean, I really, really appreciate you taking the time
Oh,
and inviting me to be a guest. It's been a lot of fun, and hopefully, some audience members are encouraged to get out of their comfort zone, to set a big goal
that's,
for themselves, and
yep.
pick up my book to get a framework for how to go after big things.
Yeah, definitely. So that is a plus. So you guys look it up, whether you're on his website or go to www Keep Hope Alive podcast and the storefront, and you'll be able to find it. So, really quickly, I wanted to thank the other sponsors who make Keep Hope Alive afloat, which is amazing. As we mentioned, lifeonrecord.com was the interactive guest book where you can pick up the vintage phone, leave a message. They'll burn it on a 12-inch vinyl record or a keepsake speaker. So, check them out for your next event. Then we talked about snapbands.com, the wonderful little bracelet that can help reduce anxiety, depression, because you know what? Today's world, it's so mind blowing. I stay away from the news unless it's an emergency news thing. So, but with all that, you take it, gentle little push, and it helps rethink and take away a lot of those worriments. So, our next one is Ogden Ventures. Marcus Ogden is a former football player. He's a keynote speaker as well, has his own book out and podcast. You can find his information at www.marcusogden.com, and that is spelled Marquesodgen. Our next one is bridalshowsinc.com. Miss Naomi Butler. She's been doing bridal shows across Dallas for, I want to say, more than 25 years, it feels like, maybe even more, but about 5 or 6 out of the year where you can go and visit different vendors like caterers, bands, florists, photographers, videographers, all that fun stuff, and learn what they do and get their prices if you are having an event. We also have Bryce Harney at www.brycemagic.com. Bryce, he's been featured on TV, but he does big corporate events for magic. And he's a mind mentalist reader, which is really cool. So, whether it's corporate or churches, he is out there. I suggest go to YouTube, type in Bryce Harney, look up his stuff. It's wonderful. Our next one is Miles and Smiles Events, Miss Deborah Rose. She has a background in like investigation, but she works also in the event industry, and she does handwriting analysis and lipstick readings, and she's 100% accurate. So, I watch her. Also did the last company I worked for, and I was just blown away looking at this. How does she know about me just by lipstick reading? So, but I was seeing a reel that AI, they're going to diagnose people's health with them singing. I don't think so.
Good luck.
So, no, Deborah's better than that. So hire her for your next event. Our next one is richmondpunch.net. Richmond is a violinist. He's been in the event industry for, oh my gosh, over 30 years. He's been doing, he's on tour right now, which is really good. And he's performed in front of over 1 million people with his music. He was on 2 Lifetime shows too, which was amazing. But if you need a great violinist, you can find him once again at www.richmondpunch.com. We would love to hear from you guys. If you would like to be a guest speaker or have questions for our guests, come through the website. We also have a little leave a voice message, and pretty soon there's going to be fan mail added to this podcast. So, with any questions, just remember you can do that. Wherever you guys find your podcast, you'll be able to find Keep Hope Alive. I'm hearing everybody's suggestions of what they want to hear, and we are about to do our first panel podcast on chronic pain coming up next weekend. Actually, I believe on the 10th. So, very excited about that. But other than that, Stephen, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing all your information. It was such a pleasure to meet you
Hey,
and hear from you and everything. So,
no, Nadine, it was great. It was great to meet you as well. Thank you so much for having me on. I really enjoyed it.
oh, thank you. Well, until next show, guys, love and light. Mwah. Have a wonderful week.